Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Natijanang panyasa panyanati ajayato yam hijanang cha panyacha esamako visudhaye. Save nibbana santike. Nibbana, santike is close to nibbana, or in the presence of nibbana. There is no jhana for one without wisdom. There's no wisdom for one without jhana. But one with both jhana and wisdom is in the presence of nibbana. We were in the discussion of the last time, we were looking at the spiral path, starting from the first arising of faith and gladness, and coming up to settling down into jhana, samadhi, absorption, concentration, integration. The next step in this sequence is called Yatha Bhuta Jnana Dasana. Knowing and seeing things as they really are, knowledge and vision according to reality. Bhuta is one of those cognates of the word bhavana, meaning to be. Way back at the beginning of this discussion, there was a comparison between bhava, which is the constant going around and around of existence and becoming this and becoming that, constantly shifting and changing, becoming through various lifetimes, which is contrasted with atti, which is a longed for state of existence, which is permanent and unchanging and has no more becoming. And we have learned over the past few days that both of those states are dependent on the belief or the concept of the self. And when we let go of that idea of the self, we let go of thinking of a permanent existence, and we also let go of this existence going around and around in rebirth. But before we got there, before we've escaped from being trapped in the cycle of rebirth, we are in it, but we can see it. We can know and see it very clearly. We can see it with a direct experiential knowledge, with a kind of like not an analytical knowledge, not a partial knowledge, but with a full knowledge. And what is it that we see? We see the three marks of anicca, impermanence, suffering, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self in both our own experience and in any kind of phenomena that we could turn our attention towards. We see our own experience as this ever-changing flow of the five khandhas: form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness. The five khandhas constantly arising and ceasing in a never-stopping flow. So this is the state that if we're primed properly, if we have cleared off superstitious beliefs or misguided ideology or misguided concepts, sort of clearing away the underbrush, and then coming to the development of the path and the development of meditation, then we have the possibility of having this knowledge and vision. This would naturally lead to nibbida, or disenchantment, seeing the danger in how all the states associated with me, any state connected with a concept of self, is constantly dissolving, disappearing. Everything that's created is disappearing. And this is the danger in all formations. There's nothing to be gained in that world because it's always disappearing. And then at this point, the desire for deliverance arises. So this is the significant point in insight meditation when we've lost this conscious or subconscious idea that existence as a self is somewhere lovely, somewhere desirable, if not in this world, at least at a higher plane or a deva realm or some kind of paradise, or somehow or other we feel that existence as a being, as a self, is a good thing. That idea is demolished. And we see that for each moment that we're experiencing our life with a self is fraught with so much pressure, so much danger, so much a sense of doom, because we know this is not going to work. So nibbida is not hatred, but it's just accepting the reality that living the life of a person who's got a self, who's experiencing whether we're going to be with God in heaven or whether we're going to be going around and around with the flow of different states of existence, no matter what, there's always like a blot in the corner of the painting. This is not going to work because of impermanence. And then this comes, I said before, this is a very consequential insight. This is like a real turning point in our practice. You could say that with all of the wonderful things in our practice up to this point, with developing loving kindness, purifying the mind, purifying our sila, learning how to let go of the unwholesome states of mind, enjoying the bliss and happiness of meditation. With all of that, it's like we have cut our dukkha in half, and we have a chance to, if that's as far as we go, we could kind of enjoy having a good enough life with less dukkha than we had before, anyway. But when nibbida arises, it's like this realization that we can cut the dukkha 100%. The mind realizes that there's a still point, a point of non-existence, meaning not existing with the self going through different states. A state that's completely peaceful, a state in which nothing anymore is arising or ceasing. This is called viraga. Raga, it's translated as dispassion. Raga is translated as passion. Kama raga means lust, like as in sexual lust. Raga has a more general meaning. Any kind of like emotional reactivity, or like the lust for life, or the lust for excitement, or it's very much, I associate, because I spent a long time thinking about emotions, I associate with emotional activity. Ayya thinks she can call it a rage, like a raging for life. Not raging being angry, but raging for life. So the V is a separation. So then it's like a cutting with a knife. We're separated from all of that. And with that separation, the power of insight mounts, driven by this longing for this utter peace of liberation. A fundamental turnaround takes place in consciousness, causing a radical restructuring of the mental life. This is where we make the crossover from the mundane path to the supramundane path, where we make the turnaround towards our final deliverance. In the Visuddhimagga, there's an analogy for this. If you want to get from one bank of the river, which is the worldly life, to the other side, which is Nibbana, with the momentum of practice, we can tie the rope of materiality to the branch of selfhood, take hold of the rope, and with the momentum of practice, swing across the river towards Nibbana, to where we can see the other side. And then we're heading towards the other bank. We let go of the rope of materiality and the branch of selfhood and drop down on the further bank. So then one has been able to let go of clinging to everything that exists, primarily nama, rupa, body, mind, in the sense that existence is called the existence of the self. the feeling that there's somebody inside the body who's me is gone. From that angle, if you look back at the five khandhas, form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, and consciousness, you would see all of those phenomena as impermanent, suffering, a disease, a boil, a dart, a misfortune, an affliction, as something alien, as something decomposing, as something empty, as selfless. You would turn the mind away from those phenomena, turning the mind away from them, focusing on the deathless element, thinking this is peaceful, this is the sublime, that is the stilling of all formations, the relinquishing of all foundations, the destruction of craving, dispassion, cessation, nibbana. And then we come to the last item on the list of this spiral path of transcendental or supramundane dependent origination, which is freedom. Sometimes it's called vimutti, meaning freedom. Sometimes chittam vimutti, which is the freedom of the mind. Then the enlightened being, the arahant, understands the defilements that were eradicated, brought bondage to the round of existence. They are no more. They're utterly eradicated. The arahant would have certainty in their emancipation from the round. They could make their lions roar and say, unshakable is my emancipation. This is my last birth. There is now no renewal of existence. And this knowledge will become a permanent part of their psychology, which can never change and cannot go backwards. They would be immune from any more future becoming. Birth is destroyed. The holy life is lived. The work is complete. The task has been done. No more returning to this state. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I think it's a very helpful to have these concepts, even the metaphor about the branch of self and the rope of materiality and letting go of them, and having aimed because of the practice, and because you have this, you don't know how far you're going to get in this lifetime. Well, you might know, but you may not know how far you're going to get in this lifetime. But you may be confident and glad because of your confidence in this path of teaching, in the enlightenment of the Buddha, in the enlightenment of many people throughout history, including in modern times. And with the sense that the more we can keep going in the right direction, staying on the path, not falling into a ditch, not going into a bypass, not going into confusion, then we are creating that momentum so that then when the time comes that we become capable of this letting go, that we will not be just falling into a bottomless pit of darkness or just falling into something which is terrifying, but instead having the confidence that this state we're aiming for is the state of complete security, of complete happiness, of complete safety, of complete freedom. And it's a state that's not a mysterious concept that nobody can understand. It's something that can be experienced by a human being.